Thanks, Claire. Next, we'll hear from Eddy Freed from the UU Congregation of the Hudson Valley. There he is.
Hello. I'm Eddy Freed, as Megan just said, from the UU Congregation of the Hudson Valley, located in Croton-on-Hudson in Westchester County. We're a church of about 100 members. Our family has been UUs for 30 years, 25 of which at the Croton UU. I've held many positions over the years, including board president. My wife and I were OWL teachers for 20 years. Currently, I'm serving on the social justice and worship committees. All of my early adult life, I participated in diversity trainings. Then in November of 2007, an event changed my orientation to issues of race. There was a cross burning 1 mile from my home, the home of a young black family just 1 mile from my home and 2 miles from our church. Upsetting events like this are usually reported in the newspaper or television, usually far away, not so close to where we live and breathe. I needed to understand how such an event, a cross burning, could happen so near my home and church. In the process of exploring this incident, I went to a community gathering of over 400 people, where 15 officials from the school district, the town, the county, the state, each assured us that this incident was an aberration and not deserving of more attention than they were already giving issues of race. Of course, that's not how they said it, that's how I heard it. Then they put out a microphone for community comments. I heard stories of what persons of color and biracial families experienced routinely in our town. I was stunned and speechless for days as I tried to sort this out. I knew I had the responsibility to partner with others to change the world. I envisioned having grandchildren, now I have 3, and grandchildren of others, little children, inheriting a world so dangerous and unfair. I had to do my part to change the world for the better for these beautiful babies of all colors. Soon I talked to many people, especially in my church, about this experience. Our then DRE and now Reverend Peggy Clark took me to a discussion group with Ron Chisholm, one of the founders of the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. I was stunned and speechless for days as I tried to sort this out. I joined a new local anti-racism study group that partnered with a local black activist group and heard more about living black in our community. I was stunned and speechless for days, and then I began to get angry. With the minister of a nearby UU church, we started Westchester UUs for Racial Justice. After about 3 years, attendance at our sessions diminished, and that minister finished her work at that nearby UU church and left. Westchester UUs for Racial Justice died. While looking for an accountability group for the Westchester UUs, I volunteered to check out the local branch of the NAACP. After attending a few monthly meetings and forming deep friendships with some members, I joined the Peekskill branch of the NAACP. Eventually, I agreed to co-chair their health committee, and now I also serve on the executive committee. The friendship with the members of the NAACP is mutual, so when I start talking about anti-racism, they tend to look at me funny and think I'm that odd white guy who is part of us. They seem to humor me. The NAACP, in my experience, is aggressive in its work for civil rights, but does not really buy into anti-racism. Through my church, I learned about and eventually joined the Anti-Racism and Diversity Committee. People in this room remember that? The ARDC? A few heads are nodding. Of the then New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut region of the UUA. The committee was fondly called the ARDC. There I met and worked with some impressive individuals, including Reverend Dr. Michael Tino, Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, and Dr. Janice Johnson. Familiar names? Yes. Despite many invitations, no one from my church joined me. The ARDC sponsored numerous activities, including an annual conclave, which, like today's event, invited people from all the congregations in the district to focus on anti-racism. A few from my church attended, but never the same group, and no one with an apparent passion for changing the world. A number of years ago, some of us considered posting a Black Lives Matter sign outside our church. After much discussion at the board and at open church membership meetings, we borrowed one of Katie Aliberti's spare signs at that time. I guess she used them up. And posted it inside our church. After many meetings, trainings, and also a consultation with the local police department, a vote was approved that we get our own BLM sign and post it outside our church. Since our church is up a small hill from a major roadway, we hung our sign down the hill a bit on the fence surrounding the child's play area, probably 60 feet from the roadway. Got a few angry calls, which have long since ended. No damage to our sign. After the excitement of the new sign faded, nothing much happened. Despite an annual summer lay sermon on racism for the last 6 years and periodic classes in adult RE, not much is happening. This year, I led 2 classes on anti-racism and 24 members participated. And last Saturday, I organized a 4-hour workshop on faith-based anti-racism. I invited members of the 5 UU churches in Westchester and 6 houses of worship in our village of Croton. 19 attended the program, representing 9 churches. 3 of those in attendance were also active members of the NAACP. I intend to personally follow up, especially with the individuals of each of the 9 houses of worship, and bring anti-racism program to these churches. I'm constantly on the hunt for one or more partners who want to change the world. Recently, I was asked to kick off an anti-racism program where I work. Our not-for-profit healthcare organization has 1,300 employees in 30 locations. My most intensive learning occurred in our AR planning group, which is intentionally composed of a black man, a black woman, a white man, a white woman. I am that white man. We meet weekly and once or twice monthly have a facilitator. Over time, this AR planning group has developed sufficient trust for my black counterparts to begin to share the routine disappointments, pain, and sometimes outrage that they and other POCs experience working for our good liberal organization. I'm allowed to hear some of the barrage of microaggressions committed by me and other white, well-intentioned leaders like me. I apologize for my offenses and say thank you for sharing. Each time I present at my church, the attendees approach me afterwards saying variations of, "You were great." These words of appreciation do not make me feel good. I deeply prefer for people to ask me follow-up questions or concerns about their own experience with race and racism, or even to challenge me and say that I have it wrong. I usually blame myself for not getting through to my church family. Our new minister is very supportive, and we may introduce after-church discussion groups recurring at least monthly. So far, it looks like it might be climate change and anti-racism, so maybe we'll get to meet every other week. She agrees with me that we have a lot of work to do. I will learn from today's workshops and panelists. I'll try to figure out how I can better help light a fire or find those with a fire to continue this necessary work. Churches and all houses of worship can be a perfect place to cultivate and sustain anti-racism work. They all seem to address values in making this a better world. They tend to attract people who care about others. A faith-based anti-racism coalition has been formed with the support of the New York Anti-Racist Alliance and the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. If you worship in Westchester County and you want to be part of building networks of support across faith-based organizations, join us on Wednesday, November 13th from 2 to 4. If you have a church that is ready to commit to becoming an anti-racist church, please join us Sunday, November 17th from 2 to 5 in northern Manhattan. You will need to bring a team of 3 to 5 ready to work on developing and implementing a strategy to become an anti-racist church. Brochures for both events are available at the registration counter, or see me or contact me at arcroton@gmail.com. Thank you for your interest.